Hey everybody, welcome to Nintendo News Report for the week of March 18th, 2016. I'm Donald Terriel. It is a two-man show tonight. Unfortunately, Alex and Zach are both on assignment, but I am joined by one of the very rare people in North America who actually is using Miitomo properly, Neal Ronahan.
I don't know if properly is. Oh, one of my answers is popular. I just picked it up. You get a bunch of push notifications with this thing that'll be like, this person commented on your shit.
Yeah, that's about right. That's cool.
So I don't know.
I
It's
like
just
their Apple TV app much more than the US version too.
yeah. It's
Feels
just
snappier.
it's just a lot of me's talking.
That's about right. That's cool.
Sounds like they're all screaming something completely
Yeah.
unintelligible.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, this is Miitomo. Right now, my me's over some other dude's house. I don't know what my me would be doing at such an hour.
Well, in Japan, where you technically are with that thing, it is what 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, very true. I've been enjoying. I mean, I've basically had a full day. Like I had my phone with me at work, and periodically would just glance at it and be like, oh, there's a notification. I'm gonna go in here. I'm gonna answer some questions. Go see what my friends are saying. Comment on those. Heart them. Go check out the shop. See if there's new clothes to buy. It's not a deep experience, but it's surprisingly fun. Like I very much I've gotten lost and like meant to like go check my phone for something else and then saw that I had a Miitomo notification and then would spend 5 or 10 minutes just screwing around in it before I'd be like, all right, now I'm done.
Okay, so this is probably something that would take up my breaks at work, for instance, but not something I'd want to have. I'd want to risk, getting fired by having my phone on while I'm technically on the floor.
Probably. I mean, I've been living dangerously. We'll see how long that lasts. Like I still really don't know if this is going to be the kind of thing that I'm going to be going to in a week or two. I think there's a few ways that Nintendo could kind of incentivize at least me as the kind of idiot who has the Hylian shield behind me, a thing with like the Green Lantern riding a Yoshi, this jacket in which there's a patch of my website on it, like that kind of person. The way to entice that person is to it's pretty simple. Put in some more Nintendo clothing. Right now you get a Mario hat just for like signing up. And then I believe there is a My Nintendo reward that you can redeem your coins to get an entire Mario outfit. Other than that, for 2 days, the store has just been like, like regular stuff. Like some of it's fun. Like I got a pair of roll-up jeans, some flashy boots, a shirt that like says "Me Yourself" on it, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting the impression that this is sort of like Tomodachi Life, except it's way easier to put the stupid stuff that your Mii's doing out on the internet just because you're doing it on a cell phone.
Yeah, no, I mean definitely. There's a lot of Tomodachi Life in this. I think if you were to ask me which do I like better, I still think I like Tomodachi Life better. Granted, I've only been screwing around with Miitomo for 24 hours, but I like the aquarium aspect of Tomodachi Life, and maybe once I have more like IRL friends playing Miitomo with me, maybe I'll get more into it then. And maybe that aquarium aspect of having our Mii's interacting with each other, us saying stuff, seeing dumb pictures, maybe that will have more of an appeal. It is certainly wonderful to mess around with the Mii photo stuff. That's probably the unsung hero of the entire app because it's surprisingly simple and really fun to just go through the different poses and faces and expressions that you can put on your Mii and then set them up. Like it's very easy to kind of like make things bigger, make things smaller, rotate them, etc. But it's also like you can do a lot of stuff with it, but it's not that complicated. And you can also use that. There's a bunch of like backgrounds and like word art that you can basically put in there. And you can also just take pictures from your own and put them in there. And I've seen stuff online already of like people positioning their Mii so that way it looks like their Mii's sitting on the edge of a bowl, which is something that you need to go in there and kind of manipulate, but it's also not that tough to do stuff like that. So it's really easy to just make these fun, goofy Mii pictures quickly on your phone and it's just a button press, and you can spit it out to Instagram or Facebook. The Twitter stuff seems like maybe it's just a Japanese version because there's a lot more focus on Line, which is a thing that's really popular in Japan. But I think it exists in America, but it's not like I've never messed with it.
Yeah, it's something like amiibo groups use to let others know when like rare amiibo are going on sale.
Like I know like Line does have a market outside of Japan. It's just that in Japan it's gigantic. So maybe in the North American version, maybe Twitter will be like an easier place to post. Because right now for that, it seems like I need to like save the photo to my phone and then tweet it out. I got a question from the chat. Can you do anything with the app when you don't add anyone except creating your me? Yes, you can, but not much. Like, you could still, in theory, answer questions and get yourself coins and, I guess, like, buy stuff and play things. Like, there's like a pachinko game that you can play. But if you're not making friends in that game, or if you don't have friends there, then it's kind of pointless. There's a reason why, like, I think it's sorted under social networking, like, apps on the iTunes store, and I think there's a good reason for that. It's less of a game and more of a social networking tool. Not a replacement for Twitter or Facebook, but more of a complement to them.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. Although I have to say that I've seen some pretty interesting shots out of the conferring of game developers from Chris Johnston in particular.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing CJ's his posts from the floor of GDC with his me like right next to his demo.
Kind of weird seeing a PS4 demo or a PC demo though, with a me in it.
So actually, you know what? Let's I'll try to go for this cat outfit. So this is Miitomo drop. This is probably the worst way to ever do this. So yeah, like there's like the pachinko game right there. This is horrible YouTube content. But like now I can drop it. So I'll just see now we can see. Where's it gonna go? I don't even know. Did it actually drop?
No, you still it again.
All right. Let's put him there. So that's Don Koopman's me, just dropping around. I didn't put a lot of thought into this, but you can, try to get it to actually land on certain things. Ah!
Oh, he's going down.
I think I just got candy.
Winner. Yeah. Yes, you got candy.
And you use candy because you can kind of go through like a random thing with it, where it'll just kind of keep on showing you people's answers to questions and stuff, or you can go to a specific user profile and give that me candy, and then you can see their answers to different things.
Yeah, and if you're looking for more information on Miitomo, specifically the aforementioned Don Koopman did go to Nintendo to play it for a good while last week. He's got a full written preview up on Nintendo World Report, and there's also about a 23-minute discussion video with Neal and Don here on Nintendo World Report TV.
You can hear me. It's my pre-Miitomo life captured one last time.
Yeah, and they're still saying that it's going to be out in the rest of the world by the end of the month. Does Apple having something on Monday have anything? Could that be the impetus for them to launch it in the West?
No idea. I would say actually probably more of the impetus is I think if this went worldwide last night, the servers would have crashed. Because it was, even in Japan only, which is the smallest region for Nintendo, like it soared to the top of the downloads chart on iTunes and Google Play. And for people asking in the chat, it is on Android. That's actually I have a Nexus 5 and that's what I'm playing it on. So yes, it is on both stores, and I would assume that when it comes out in North America and Europe, it will be released on both stores at the same time, unless there is some kind of deal with Apple, which I would be pretty bummed out as an Android owner. I'd be bummed out if this was exclusive to Apple at first in North America.
Same here. Although, if you are an Android owner, you can get the app right now. The APK file, the application file, is in the wild. It's just you have to have a Japanese My Nintendo account to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Which you don't technically. you don't technically have to. I don't think. I think it's just an option. But then I don't think you'd earn anything. Which I mean, I have the backdoor goal. Maybe I'll get up to the 1,000 coins so that way I can get my Nintendo Twilight Princess Picross. Other than that, I mean, I have a Japanese 3DS, but I don't use it that often. It's basically for the occasional import game.
Is it Dragon Quest Theater Rhythm box at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I have that. I also have Final Fantasy Explorers imported. I imported it and then it got announced for the West, so you're welcome, I guess.
Too bad we weren't that lucky with Theater Rhythm though.
Nope. Although, a hot tip to everybody: Theater Rhythm Dragon Quest is kind of disappointing. It's like it's fun. It's still Theater Rhythm, but it's like if Theater Rhythm wasn't that good. That's what Theater Rhythm Dragon Quest is.
Yeah, but Miitomo launching is the big story of the week, because it brought along with it the Japanese My Nintendo service, and there's some interesting things on there, including 50% off Metroid Other M for Wii U if you are into that sort of thing. And
what if you're into a good video game?
I'm not touching that with a forklift. But the other major thing that sort of came out of nowhere with this is that there's one of the rewards besides the Twilight Princess Picross game is WarioWare Touch for the 3DS as a port of the DS game, and it basically runs like it's DSiWare.
Really?
Yeah, it's downloadable, but it is treated as a DSiWare app, including going into the incredibly small 3DS system memory, and just gives you another fridge to clean.
It's probably the most Nintendo thing they could have done with this. They're like, here's this really cool thing. Oh, but it sucks. Like,
yeah, I mean, well, they did.
Maybe when you download Metroid Other M and you get 50% off of that, like it needs to fit on like on a gigabyte thumb drive that you need to plug into the back.
I don't know. Other M was kind of a big game, but
yeah, that's fine. I mean, I don't think it'd work.
Yeah, and WarioWare Touch isn't that big, if I recall correctly. I think it was under 32 megs. So
yeah, I mean that's the kind of game that Nintendo can compress to high hell. It's kind of amazing looking at how much is packed into some of those like Super Nintendo, Game Boy, DS games. How much is in there for how much space they actually take up compared to like games that come out now. Where I know that Way Forward with Mighty Switch Force, like they would release updates that would shrink it, but like that was like 1,000 3DS funny money blocks, and meanwhile, WarioWare Touch is probably like 4 of those.
I think it came out to like 28 megs or something. So about 200 blocks. It is really small. It's, I think, the first time we've had a downloadable DS game on 3DS since Advance Wars Days of Ruin, which I think was one of the last Japanese Club Nintendo rewards.
Yeah.
But you kind of get the feeling that they're going to be putting things on like the Brain Ages as downloadable.
Well, I mean, they've kind of done that before.
Yeah,
with the DSiWare games.
Yeah, except now they don't have to split it up. They're just giving you the game for free, or for however many Club Nintendo or My Nintendo points it is.
And then there was also, I mean, Inazuma 11 was kind of a DS game put out in that manner, but that functioned as a regular 3DS release, if memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, it had Street Pass, and you don't have that option with the DS games literally run as a DS game would.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's cool that they have that, but I mean, I guess they're not putting as much effort into it. But as a bonus, as a thing that you can get with My Nintendo, it doesn't seem that terrible. But it's still pretty funny that even in success they fail.
Yeah, I think the only other reward that I saw that I might be interested in once this thing comes live here is basically 50% off Super Mario Galaxy as a Wii download. So I had to trade in my disc. I never bothered to get it again. If I can get it for $12 or whatever Canadian, that'd be worth it for me.
I mean, it's a solid list that's there. I mean, Twilight Princess Picross is the thing that leaps out to me the most. And then you have stuff like you can get for not that much gold reward or gold coins. You can get like Super Mario 64, New Super Luigi U, Super Punch Out, So a lot of stuff that we've kind of seen before, but it's good to see like that's the norm now. That's not just a special thing.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're going to keep these on the service and just add stuff to it instead of switching it out every month like Club Nintendo used to do.
I'll be really curious how they roll out My Nintendo. It's at the point where I don't even really know what to speculate how they're going to keep it going forward, other than I hope they figured it out.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping they swap out some of those discount options for like here's eShop credit and have a nice day like the old DDP, but
Yeah,
that might be something they do with the NX.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's My Nintendo. Obviously, we'll have more on that when we have access to it in North America, because Neal has access to it now through that Japanese 3DS of his, but it's.
Speaking of which, I need to. They have missions with My Nintendo. That's partially how you earn coins. I mean, they do have stuff where it's like, spend X amount, or I think it's either like download something worth this or purchase this much credit in the eShop. And then you'll get, whatever platinum or gold coins for that. There's also stuff like access the eShop. And I think that's like access the eShop once a week, and then you'll get coins or something like that. Or go to Miiverse once a week, and then you'll get coins for that. So there's this kind of like an achievement-like system for earning My Nintendo coins, which I think is a good way going forward for Nintendo to go.
And it encourages you to go in and see what might be on sale this week.
Yep. So let's before we move on, what's your bet for when Miitomo and thus My Nintendo are going to come out in North America? And I would assume Europe, but let's just focus mainly on North America. I think they would be out the same day.
Yeah, I think they're day and date, and I still like the idea of them coming out on Monday, just right after that Apple event.
I'm gonna say March 23rd.
Okay, so Wednesday.
So I'm gonna say Wednesday. I think a week after the Japanese launch. Kind of just gives them time to get their ducks in a row, make sure it's running smoothly. I know I had a couple like error codes crop up that I assume had to do more with like connecting to the server than anything else.
Yeah, that's a pretty long distance connection for you if you're connected to a server in Japan.
Yeah, or however it works.
Yeah. All right, so we'll report back next week on that, no doubt.
Yep.
Yeah, but new releases this week. The big one, obviously, being, aside from Miitomo, Pokken Tournament, which we talked plenty about last week, and I have my review up on Nintendo World Report now. Note that I left the score off intentionally to make sure the online works, and because there's also going to be a day one patch for that when it goes live in a couple hours.
Really? Well,
yeah.
I will be sure to check it out when I should have my copy from Amazon getting here tomorrow.
Yay! Release date delivery. The other big things for us are, for somewhat big, you have Mario and Sonic at the Olympics 3DS, which we don't have a review copy of and probably won't have one.
We'll have hands-on impressions going up tomorrow. I believe that the release date for it in Europe is later, but our man in the Netherlands, Don Koopman, has played that game and is going to have a preview go up tomorrow.
Okay, but no formal score on it, obviously, because it was just a preview.
just a preview. I feel like I'm a drunk night away from buying one of these Mario and Sonic games. Like, I know that the last 3DS one was, I think this is the third Olympics game, and I think one of them was god awful terrible, and I think one of them was like, it's okay. Like, it's the kind of thing I think I'm a drunken night away from buying this game.
I remember seeing the Wii U version of the Sochi game in store for like $20 at some point. I picked it up, but I don't think I ever played it and ended up trading it in. So I regretted that quickly. And the last major release of the week for us, because really screw City Connection, Mutant Mudds Super Challenge, which Zach reviewed for us and you gave a second opinion on.
Yes.
And it's basically Mutant Mudds gone Kaizo for whatever that's worth.
Yeah. I think there's a cool thing about Mutant Mudds Super Challenge that dawned on me is that I think I'm over the really hard platformers. Like, I remember when Super Meat Boy came out, like, that was awesome. I was so stoked, played through that game, tore my hair out. It was beautiful. It came out on PlayStation back, I think it was in the fall, and it was a PlayStation Plus game. So I figured, you know what, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play some Super Meat Boy. I haven't played it since it came out on Xbox 360. This is going to be great. I got a couple levels into this, and I'm like, I'm so done with this shit. And with Mutant Mudds Super Challenge, I think it's still a very fun game. If you enjoyed Mutant Mudds, if you played all the ghost stages, if you played all the granny stages, if you felt like you're like, you know what, I mastered that, bring on what's next. I want it to go to 11. That's what Super Challenge is. It takes the difficulty, it adds in way more spikes. There's new level design tweaks, and that's all very, very interesting if you want it to be harder. Because it takes the skills that you learned in Mutant Mudds 1, and you need to be very good at them in order to beat this game.
Okay, so you've played it recently enough that that's not going to be a problem, because I don't think I've touched the original since about 2013.
You would probably have, the first world will be really brutal for you if you were to get this game, because you kind of like, for me, it's like there was a moment, I want to say it was at the end of World 1, where it was kind of like I remembered the language of the level design of this game, and I still would die a lot, but I would always kind of know what to do as I got later into the game. Like it was still brutal and hard, but it wasn't, and maybe that's kind of my problem with it to an extent, is that the difficulty was more like, you're gonna die, than here's this really clever puzzle. It was just that, like, you're gonna have to brute force this. That's the way this game was made. And I feel bad because, I mean, we wound up being on the lower end of the scores. Zach gave it a 7, I gave it a 7.5. And I've kind of, whenever I talk to people about this, I get into that defensive being like, well, no, this is why I thought it wasn't good. Like, I still enjoyed it. I still played through the entire thing, like mainline that shit like a drug over the course of like 2 to 3 days. Collected everything except for there's a big hidden thing. There's secret characters later, like that's been announced. Like I think Rusty from SteamWorld Dig is the first one that you'll find, and there's a whole bunch of other ones ranging from other indie games to other Renegade Kid games. All these different characters, they're just palette swaps, but it's still really neat. But the way to find those is one of the most frustrating hidden secrets in a game I've ever experienced. I didn't actually find a secret character until after I beat the game. And that was, Zach and I were going back and forth being like, hey man, you find a secret character yet? And he's like, no. And he finally found one, and it was on accident. And I realized that basically, when you think you might be in an area where a secret character is, press up.
Yeah, and it's not like 7 or 7.5 are bad scores. It's just there's been some things that would pop green on Metacritic, let's say.
Yeah. I think it might be yellow on Metacritic. Actually, Metacritic with the second opinion, they averaged it out to a 73. I was curious. And I was actually like thinking like, I wonder if they're gonna like keep my score into account or just focus on Zach's. And no, they gave it a 73. Like maybe some people wouldn't like that. I totally fine with that if that's the way we're gonna roll with these second opinions.
Yeah, and if you don't agree with that, well, there's OpenCritic just opened up, and
OpenCritic gave it a 75 for us. Yeah. So best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I guess one last thing on Mutant Mudds Super Challenge before we move on. There are 5 boss battles in this game which are brand new. 2 of them are really cool. 3 of them are terrible. So 40% success rate with the bosses.
Yeah.
Hopefully with Treasure Knots, the bosses are way better. I actually think that there's in the Treasure Knots demo that's been in existence, I think since 2002, something like that. It's been around for a while. Treasure Knots has been in development for decades, it feels at this point. I've played that demo a bunch of times. The crab boss at the end of that demo, probably better than all of these Mutant Mudds bosses.
And a shout out to our community manager, JP Corbin, who is the biggest Mutant Mudds fan on the planet.
Yes. Although, I mean, I think up until Super Challenge, I might have rivaled him. I love the hell out of that first game. It's just that I want to see a true sequel. I don't want to see just a harder version. Like, I want to see new power-ups. I want to see new enemies. I want to see new worlds. And Super Challenge is just a more difficult retread.
You want Mario 3, not Lost Levels.
Exactly. That's the perfect comparison. God, why didn't you write the review? But that is it. I mean, Super Challenge is the Lost Levels. I want Mario 3.
Yeah. All right. Now, other news of the week. The Star Fox Zero is going to have some interesting difficulty choices on both ends. An interview with Time Magazine, Shigeru Miyamoto explained that there's going to be ways to make that game really, really hard, or make you invincible. And I don't see the issue with this, but we've had that argument multiple times on this show before about making things more accessible and open to everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's awesome. I doubt I will ever play it with the Invincible R-Wing. I doubt I will ever play it with the Glass Cannon R-Wing. I'll probably play it in the middle. But I do love the idea that, let's say with Star Fox Zero, if I were to go like bring that to my niece and be like, hey, check this game out. You can basically put on no fail mode and just let a child mess around with a game. And I know that there's like, you always run into people, like I'll call out Justin Berube on the staff here. He's the kind of guy that's like, well, when I was 5, I beat Mega Man 2, like something like that. Like, and that's great. There are kids that are younger and really good at video games. I also know a lot of kids that don't really have that experience with video games, and they'll go to play one and they'll die a lot, and they'll be like, well, this is dumb. Because that's frustrating. That's not fun. Like, let them have time to learn. And that's why I love having all these different difficulty options in games, because I think it's better. Because if there's people that are like, oh, that's too easy, well, then up the difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, if you have the choice there, then you can take advantage of it, and it just means that the game is going to be more successful in the long run if more people are into it.
Yep. So, what's your? You're not totally on board for Star Fox Zero right now, right?
I'm into it. It's just that for reasons that we're going to get into shortly, I sort of need to clear the track of some stuff before June. So I'm going to play Star Fox. I'll play Project Guard or Star Fox Guard now. I've got it pre-ordered. I don't know if I'm going to get full. I don't think I'm going to 100% this game, for instance. Like, this would be a weekend thrill for me.
I'm super excited for Star Fox Zero. It's like that and Metroid Prime Federation Force. I'm kind of interested in similar ways, in that the optimist in me wants those games to be amazing. There's also, I guess, maybe the realist in me is just like, I have to know. Like, I love both of those series. I'm intrigued by both of these games. I'm not 100% sure if they're both going to be really good, but I have to know. And it's like refreshing to look at a game and not be like, well, you know what? Like, I know what Twilight Princess HD is going to be. Like, yes, I played through that game for review, but I probably could have written most of that review just by guessing. Same thing goes, I'm reviewing Hyrule Warriors Legends right now. That's another game that, like, going into it, I'm like, okay, I kind of know how this one's going to go. Fire Emblem Fates was another game that you kind of know how this one's going to go. Star Fox Zero, Metroid Prime Federation Force, no clue how they're going to go. Like, those, they could be like surprising 8s and 9s, or like a bunch of 5s. Like, who knows?
Yeah, I guess we're both at the point of, although I guess me more than you are both at the point of, this is more of a curiosity. Like, what has this thing become?
Yeah.
And what is the extent that I can, play without motion control?
Yeah.
Because I play my Splatoon. Well, can I? How much of the motion control is going to be in this game anyway? Is it just the? Is it literally just the one? Yeah,
a lot of it's still going to be in there. That's all the quotes from the previews recently seem to intimate that that quote from Iwata at last E3. Yeah, that's not true anymore. You have to play this game with motion controls.
Well, we'll have to wait and see, and I guess we'll see how long this thing lasts in my apartment, because between time and having some extra cash, I kind of have a hair trigger on trading stuff in at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the one of those things that I'm really worried about not having time to play, it got announced last night with a nice trailer. Zero Time Dilemma, June 28th, 4 days after Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and I am apparently the one person on the planet for whom this is a giant freaking problem.
Yeah, good luck. For me, I'm like, cool. 2 games coming out back to back. I don't need to play. I wish I liked 999 more. I've tried playing that several times and never got into it. So I love. Oh man, I love the quote from I think it's the director, but there was like that quote about like it like he tweeted like, "You made this game. The fans made this game." Like, which is just like such a beautiful thing that there's such a big fan base for the I guess what the Zero Time Escapes, like I don't know,
Zero Escape series.
Zero Escape series. There's such a big fan base for these games that it's such a passionate one too, that there's like that direct connection between the developer and the games in a way that you don't see as often. And it even though I'm never going to play this game, it warms my heart to see stuff like that.
Yeah, and because the story with this game is that the second game completely bombed in Japan. It did pretty well here, especially since it eventually went on PlayStation Plus and a lot of people got exposure to it, but it was thought to be dead as recently as 2014, and then we started getting the teasers last year, and they finally blew it out at Anime Expo in LA and nearly caused a riot. So that's where that passion comes from. And the only thing that worries me is that they've sort of changed. They've mentioned in some previews that happened at GDC that they've changed up the format. This isn't a visual novel anymore. It's hewing closer to like a telltale adventure game, except your protagonists get knocked out every 90 minutes. Because Japan.
Yep.
Yeah. But the trailer that is up on NWR right now, I can certainly see why they're talking about this game possibly getting the Z rating in Japan, because holy crap, there's a lot of violence in that trailer.
Maybe I'll watch this trailer then, just to see, just to know.
Yeah, and they've said that it will be good for new people, but I would suspect that the people that played the previous 2 games in the series are really who this is aimed at, because like we said, that this wouldn't exist without them.
Yep.
So. Yeah, so I know what I'm doing on the way home from E3 apparently, hopefully. But we will wait and see on that, and that is going to be one very interesting month between E3 and 2 game reviews that are apparently right down my alley.
Yeah, because about the Zero Time Dilemma, there's Tokyo Mirage Sessions. We're gonna have some Kirby Robo Bobo.
Yeah,
Human's looking to be pretty fun.
Yeah, and that's why I need to clear my plate of stuff like all the 2 Fire Emblem Pass I haven't beat yet, or I still have to play Trail of Cold Steel from last year.
Yeah, that's why I never bought those games, because I'm just like, well, never gonna have the time to get those. That would be a waste of money. Like I'm sure the Trail series is as incredible as everyone says it is, but I'm always like, oh, wait, how many hours? Yeah, man, I'm out.
Yeah, and I still haven't even played Twilight Princess HD yet, so I suppose I should get on that at some point.
Yeah, it's very good. I like the Twilight Princess HD.
Yeah, and I've had it.
Give it about a 9 out of 10. You know.
Yeah, and I've had it in my apartment for 2 weeks and haven't had a chance to play it at all. But anyway.
So what's our final story here?
Final story. A couple of bits of Nindie news. Getting back on that track. They said it would never happen, but apparently they were wrong, because Axiom Verge is going to be coming out on Wii U, quote, later this year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I guess they solved the mono game thing.
Yeah, the engine originally was thought not to work, but they've apparently done some mojo to get that thing working, because it's coming out on Wii U and Xbox One. And hey, it's good to have Dan Edelman back on the Nintendo train again.
Yeah. No, I would hope that maybe you'll see something on this here YouTube channel. Maybe we'll be able to get Dan on here to talk Axiom Verge as we get closer. Having played that game on PS4, and it was probably one of my favorite non-Nintendo games of 2015. It's real special. Everybody should check that out if you have an affinity for Metroid games or Contra. It's Metroid through and through, but there's a lot more focus on gunplay. And that's what a lot of the boss battles kind of reminded me of Contra boss battles with maybe like a little more puzzly elements to them.
Yeah,
but it's a superb game. There's someone in the chat. I just want to comment real quick. Daniel Vell. I'm guessing on the pronunciation of the last name. That might be like a softie or something. Asking my status on Paper Jam. I did actually finish Paper Jam. I think that the ending was way too damn long, but it's a really fun game. You can check out. I wrote a couple hundred words on it for the newest issue of Nintendo Force, so you can see that it's actually very, very similar to my review revisit portion that went up. I wrote the review revisit, and then it was like, oh, we need this for the next issue. I was like, yeah, well, shit. I mean, I beat the game. Might as well get the most out of it. Yeah, I really enjoyed Paper Jam. Like, renewed my faith in that series.
Yeah, although I think at some point we need to sit down and figure out just why RPGs seem to take 20 hours longer than they should.
Yeah, because people feel like it's probably an aftermath of just the whole, this game gets 150 hours. This is amazing. Like, just no, give me something that's like real good in 15. That's it.
Yeah, and that's what I'm afraid of with Trails of Cold Steel.
And third rate minion asking in the chat, is Edelman involved with the game anymore? Yes, he is involved with Axiom Verge still. I know from talking to Dan at a couple events, he basically, it's almost like he's a video game agent. Like, I think that might be the best. I mean, I guess you could say he is kind of like PR, but it seems like he's kind of like signing these developers and then working with them along the steps of, announcing the game, covering them in events, releasing the game, the aftermath, et cetera, et cetera. And it like, I feel like if you're a sports fan, like, I feel like that's the best way to describe him is he's like a video game developer agent. Because it doesn't seem like it's traditional PR, because it's like he's working with much smaller studios than you'd kind of traditionally associate PR with, and it seems like he's more deeply ingrained specifically with these games.
Yeah, I was going to go for like the Ari Gold comparison from Entourage.
Yeah, that would kind of work.
And I can actually see him doing the get the.
Considering that he was the person who announced that Axiom Verge is coming to Wii U and Xbox One, I'm pretty sure he's involved with the porting process.
Yeah, and he's got some other clients too. Like he's
Chasm.
got
Chasm looks real good, and he announced a couple more at GDC. I haven't really gotten a chance to check out what those games are all about, but knowing that man's taste in games and what he's backed so far, I have a lot of faith in whatever he decides to put his time into.
Yeah. And looks like some of the things that he would have signed when he was with Nintendo, they still seem to be coming through, although they're not really coming through as we thought they would, like with Hive, because we don't have a news story on this, but it came out this week that Hive Jump, the upcoming action platformer multiplayer game, is going to have local multiplayer and amiibo support for Wii U, but it's going to have local and online for PC instead.
And this is, I saw a lot of people saying like lazy devs and like, like Wii U's not just a party console, it's got a good online presence. And maybe this is also me just seeing a lot of people bitch about something and just kind of playing devil's advocate. But for me, I think it's that, why put all this effort into making an online multiplayer experience on a system with a small install base? I just look at Runbow, where the day that freaking game came out, I could barely get an online match. Or like it'd be like with 2 other people in a game that works best when you've got like 5 to 8. And I just, there's that part of me that would rather see them do the cool stuff like amiibo support, making that local multiplayer pop, because they could put all this effort into online multiplayer, and because they're not Smash Brothers, Splatoon, or Mario Kart, the online multiplayer will just be released on Wii U and never have an active user base.
Yeah. I mean, people say that, yeah, Nintendo has good online this generation. They have some games that really pop online, but that rising tide isn't lifting the boats for everybody else that is taking that risk.
Yeah. Like
you mentioned Runbow, which I haven't honestly, I haven't bothered because I'm afraid there's just going to be nobody there. Even if the 13 a.m. guys are on Twitter on occasion saying, "Hey, let's hop online."
I would love to. If you're watching this and you want to play some Runbow online, like leave a comment or something, and maybe we'll try to put something together. Because I love that game so much. It's just that getting people together locally or online isn't an easy thing to do. Man, that game's so damn good.
Yeah. Don't run away from the behemoth.
Yeah, and Third Rate Minion aptly points out, Fast Racing Neo had a decent online presence for a few weeks and then just kind of faded away. And I remember at launch, and I think I probably critiqued it in my review because I think you don't like ignore things. You have to critique when critiques are accurate. There was no like you couldn't play with friends in Fast Racing Neo, and that sucks. But if the online presence we're 3 months away from launch, if online's dead, why would you put all that dev time into something that's going to be dead within a month? Like, and someone's pointing out in the chat right now, Ian Zion 713. I think Wii U has too many online games. My backlog is crazy, and I feel like this is a weird complaint, but at the same time, like that's true. Like, I would love to be on like playing more Smash Brothers and Splatoon, but I've got other things taking up my time. And if I were to like sit down and play an online game on my Wii U, I'd probably go to Splatoon. I probably wouldn't go to Runbow. I wouldn't go to Fast.
Yeah. So that's the state of online, and the modes that I saw in Pokken Tournament, at least the ones that were there pre-launch, that I didn't see friend matching in there, at least not that I recall. There's a friendly match, but that's just something that doesn't count against your ranking.
Yeah.
So hopefully that patch is adding that stuff in, because you would think that the Tekken guys would know how to do this stuff.
Well, I don't know. I forget. Was Tekken Tag 2 on Wii U? Was that good?
Yeah, it was really good.
I think that was. I think that was really good online.
Yeah. So that's probably not a concern, but the plug that Pokken got today with that tournament that was pretty well attended as far as the streaming count goes, that's probably going to help its online. But if it just drops off after a couple of months, then what do we do?
Well, release some DLC. I think that once again, Third Rate Minion with a good note. Take a note from Splatoon. Make online events. And I think that might be the best idea Splatoon had on a bed of brilliant ideas in that game was the Splatfest, because that online community is still very, very active, but you get a lot of people being like, oh, there's Pokemon Red versus Pokemon Blue. Yeah, I gotta fight in that war.
Sandcastles versus snowmen. Okay, sure, I'll defend my favorite Squid
Why
System.
not? I like snowmen. I guess no, I don't want the snow. I want the snow to go away. Let's go sandcastles.
I've just voted a straight Cali ticket in every Splatfest. And for the most part, it's worked. But
you're a registered Cali supporter.
Yep.
It's going to be, the primaries are going to be very exciting for the Cali side.
Make Squid Town great again.
No, what is it? It's Inkopolis? Is that the...
Make Inkopolis great again. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. All right. I think that might... I think we're running on the... Hive Jump looks great, by the way.
Yeah.
Regardless, like, I guess stay tuned. Like, does that even have a release date yet? I think it got pushed back to like later, like Q2 or something like that.
Yeah, later on. Not as bad as Rive, which, well, Two Tribes is stretching it out as long as they
Rive. All right,
September now.
We might need to do a feature. Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's make this go interminably long. Let's look up the Nindies at Home list and see what's actually out.
We just got the 5th one today with Mutant Mudds Super Challenge, and hey, if you did download that, you get a discount. So I think that's Lovely Planet, Rive, Soul Axiom, and
Runbow, Typo Man, Mutant Mudds Super Challenge, Freedom Planet, and Extreme Exorcism are all out. So the last 4 are Rive, which is September, Lovely Planet, which I know came out on other consoles, Soul Axiom, which I think is already out on other consoles as well, and Forma.8, which I think I remember seeing something from the developer that got pushed back a little bit. Yeah. So we'll see. Like we might have to like celebrate when the last one of those comes out, and I think Rive will probably wind up being the last one out. But I still Axiom was surprisingly fun. I think the only one out of that batch that I didn't really care for that much was Lovely Planet.
Yeah, I think I got a little motion sick playing that game.
Yeah. And Typo Man was like the best demo and the most disappointing final product.
Yeah. Yeah. I should. Man, there's like. I kind of wish I could like clone myself at this point, just because there's so many things I want to play. Like I want to play Freedom Planet.
I bought Freedom Planet when Freedom Planet was on sale. I bought it. I haven't played it yet though.
I bought it during the discount period, and I still haven't played it either. Matt West is going to kill me for that.
It's still there. Like I think it was on sale. I think around the New Year. That's when I got it. But every time I go down to sit to play on my Wii U, it's always like a review game or something else. Like right now, I've got the guilt of trying to play Paper Mario for a game club next week. By the way, there's a game club next week for Paper Mario. We're going to record on March 23rd. I don't know if we're going to do it live or not, because I think we're going to try to like intersperse it with video post recording. But who knows? So just stay tuned. Play Paper Mario. We're going to be playing through the beginning to the end of Chapter 3. I need to play more of that game. I'm like in Chapter 1 still.
I'll have to boot up my save file because I think I'm around the same spot. At least to comment on it, if nothing else.
All right.
Yeah,
I think we're done.
Yeah. Let's get out of here. If you want to bug one of us individually on Twitter, Neal is at Enron10. Stay tuned for hot takes about why difficulty in games is not a bad thing. And I'm at Donald Mick. That's Donald Mick. And we will be back next week. Maybe there's some news. Maybe we'll just talk about things we've been playing. I know Alex is chomping at the bit to talk Fire Emblem at some point.
And I think I'm really done talking about Fire Emblem.
Hey, I just got my game errors last night.
I should start Conquest one of these days, but I'm not really in any rush because having finished Birthright, being a little down on Birthright, I feel like I'll save it for a rainy day. Like Conquest ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I got Paper Mario to play. I got Hyrule Warriors Legends to play. Stay tuned for my review of that. Will go up on this website on March 21st. I think in the morning. But yeah.
All right. We will talk to you next week. Have a good night.
Bye.